comments, so I'm going to go into the consent agenda. I'm going to read the items that are on the consent agenda. If anything needs to come off, if you could please raise your hand and I'll recognize you. On today's consent agenda, Resolution 2025-1556, 1557, 1559, 1560, 1561, 1565, 1566, 1567, 1569, 1570, 1571, 1572, 1573, 1574, 1575, 1576, 1577, 1578, 1579, 1580, 1581, 1582, 1583, 1584, 1588, Bill 2025-1073, and Bill 2025-1075. Does anything need to come off of consent? Councilwoman Allen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can we take RS 2025-1567 and RS 2025-1571?
1567 and 1571
Yes, ma'am.
are coming off
Thank
of
you.
consent. $67. Okay, that's item number 14 and item number 18. Councilmember Cap.
Thank you, Chair, for recognizing me. And I'm sorry I did not hear the reading of the consent agenda. I just want to confirm I don't have the item number, but that RS 2025-1562 is not on consent.
It is not on consent.
Thank you.
Are there any other items that need to come off of consent? Hearing none, I'm going to read the captions. And of course, if anything needs to come off after that, you can raise your hand and be recognized. Starting with item number 3, Resolution 2025-1556, sponsors Kimbrough, Toombs, Vo, Welsh, and others. A resolution approving an application for a Beaman Park Protection Grant from the Tennessee Heritage Conservation Trust Fund to the Conservation Fund in partnership with Metro Nashville Parks to acquire approximately 308 acres adjoining Alvin G. Beaman Park in Davidson County to add a unique urban wilderness within the city of Nashville. Resolution 2025-1557 sponsors Toombs, Huffman, Welsh, and others. Resolution approving Amendment 3 to an Adult Drug Court and Veterans Treatment Court Discretionary Program Grant from the U.S. Department of Justice to the Metropolitan Government, acting by and through the General Sessions Court to implement a DUI court to serve participants convicted of a misdemeanor DUI offense. Item number 6, Resolution 2025-1559, sponsors Tune, resolution accepting the terms of cooperative purchasing master agreement with Formative Technologies Incorporated for consulting and other related services for the Department of Finance. Resolution 2025-1560, sponsors Toombs, Huffman, Welsh, and others. Resolution approving Amendment 1 from the Tennessee Housing Development Agency to the Metropolitan Government, acting by and through the Metropolitan Action Commission for low-income home energy assistance program services targeted toward the elderly, disabled, veterans, and households with young children. Resolution 2025-1561, sponsors Coop and Toombs, Bo, Welsh, and others. Resolution accepting a Project Diabetes grant from the Tennessee Department of Health to the Metropolitan Government, acting by and through the Nashville Farmers Market to utilize the Fresh Bucks program to provide nutrition support for the community by doubling every supplemental nutrition assistance program dollar spent with one of the market's farmers for healthy food options. Item number 12, Resolution 2025-1565, sponsors Toombs, Horton, Welsh, Gadd, and Allen. Resolution to approve the Second Amendment to a grant contract for constructing affordable housing approved by Resolution 2022-1857 between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, acting by and through the Metropolitan Housing Trust Fund Commission and Park Center, Inc., and Be a Helping Hand Foundation. Item number 13, Resolution 2025-1566, Toombs, Horton, Welsh, and others. Resolution to approve the Third Amendment to a grant contract for constructing affordable housing approved by Resolution 2022-1857 between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, acting by and through the Metropolitan Housing Trust Fund Commission and New Level Community Development Corporation. Item 16, Resolution 2025-1569, Toombs, Hill, and Allen. Resolution accepting the terms of a cooperative purchasing master agreement with Amoresco, Inc. for the purchase of energy consulting and management services, building and other energy solutions and related products and services for the Department of General Services. Resolution 2025-1570, Toombs, Huffman, Welsh, and Hill. Resolution accepting a direct appropriation grant from the Tennessee Department of Health to the Metropolitan Government, acting by and through the Metropolitan Board of Health to implement and coordinate HIV surveillance and prevention activities and services focusing on high-risk populations. Item 19, Resolution 2025-1572, Toombs, Welsh, and others. A resolution approving Amendment 2 to a grant contract with Why We Can't Wait, Inc. for the provision of free and high-quality out-of-school programs to the Nashville After Zone Alliance. Resolution 2025-1573, Taylor, Toombs, Welsh, and others. Resolution accepting an in-kind grant from the Centennial Park Conservancy to the Metropolitan Government, acting by and through the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Recreation to support expenses for the current improvement project on Centennial Park's north side. Resolution 2025-1574, Taylor, Toombs, Welsh, and others. Resolution approving Amendment 3 to the Centennial Park Master Plan Support Grant from the Centennial Park Conservancy to the Metropolitan Government, acting by and through the Metropolitan Nashville Parks and Recreation Department to support the implementation of the Centennial Park Master Plan. Resolution 2025-1575, Toombs, Welsh, and others. Resolution approving an application for a child and adult care food program grant from the Tennessee Department of Human Services to the Metropolitan Government, acting by and through the Metro Parks and Recreation Department to provide nutritious meals and snacks for children attending after-school programs at 17 community center locations. Resolution 2025-1576, Toombs, Huffman, and Hill. Resolution approving Amendment 1 to a contract between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County and Image Trend LLC to provide EMS and fire department data collection and reporting software. Resolution 2025-1577, Toombs, Huffman, Welsh, and others, appropriating a total of $385,000 for the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, acting by and through the Office of Family Safety to the Nashville Children's Alliance to receive American Recovery Plan Act funds. Resolution 2025-1578, Toombs, Huffman, and Gadd, accepting a grant from the Tennessee Department of Finance and Administration to the Metropolitan Government, acting by and through the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department to reimburse costs associated with emergency mental health patient transport under TCA 336406. Resolution 2025-1579, Benedict Coupin, Toombs, and others. Resolution approving an agreement between CSX Transportation, Inc., a Virginia corporation with its principal place of business in Jacksonville, Florida, and the Nashville Department of Transportation and Multimodal Infrastructure to construct bridge repairs and painting at Hart Lane, Walton Lane, and Division Street. Resolution 2025-1580, Walsh, Johnston, Toombs, and others. Resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement by and between the state of Tennessee, Department of Transportation, and the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, acting by and through NDOT for the resurfacing and safety of SR 155 from SR 6 to near I-24, and the maintenance of bicycle lanes from I-65. Resolution 2025-1581, Coupin, Toombs, Taylor, and others, approving an intergovernmental agreement by and between the state of Tennessee, Department of Transportation, and the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, acting by and through NDOT for resurfacing and safety on SR 12 from SR 6 to SR 112. Resolution 2025-1582, Hancock, Toombs, Horton, and others, authorizing the Metropolitan Governor of Nashville and Davidson County acting by and through Metro Water Services to enter into 3 facility encroachment agreements with CSX Transportation, Inc. to construct, use, and maintain fiber optics, wire lines, natural gas, and water main in the railroad right-of-way at 61 Edenwald Road. Resolution 2025-1583, Toombs, Horton, and Evan Siegel, approving a participation agreement between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, acting by and through the Metropolitan Department of Water and Sewerage Services and Hamilton Capital Group to provide improved public sanitary sewer service through the design and construction of sanitary sewer service improvements. Resolution 2025-1584, Toombs, Horton, and Evan Siegel, approving a participation agreement between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, acting by and through the Metropolitan Department of Water and Sewerage Services and Nashville Leased Housing Associates 5 LLP P, a Minnesota limited liability, excuse me, limited partnership to provide improved public sanitary sewer service through the design and construction of sanitary sewer service improvements. Resolution 2025-1588, Toombs, resolution authorizing the Metropolitan Department of Law to compromise and settle the property damage claim of Thomas Harlan against the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County in the amount of $28,677.24, with said amounts to be paid out of the self-insured liability fund. Item number 41. There's another one. Bill 2025-1073, Johnston and Allen, an ordinance repealing ordinance Bill 2008-248 regarding annual reporting by departments of paper consumption and postage expense reduction efforts. And item number 42, Bill 2025-1075, Toombs, Evans, Siegel, Johnston, and others, approving Amendment 1 to the contract between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County through the Nashville Department of Transportation and Multimodal Infrastructure and LTR Intermediate Holdings, Inc., DBA Liberty Tire Recycling for the collection and disposal of scrap tires. Does anything need to come off of the consent agenda? Hearing none, can I get a motion? It's been properly moved and seconded to adopt the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye. Opposed, no. Any not voting? Motion carries. Did you count? Moving on to items that were not on consent. Item number 1, Resolution 2025-1533, Toombs, Huffman, and Benton. Resolution approving a Homeland Security Grant Program application from the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency to Metropolitan Government, acting by and through the Office of Emergency Management to fund efforts to prevent, prepare for, protect against, and respond to acts of terrorism and other catastrophic events. Can I get a motion? It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there anyone from fire here? If you could introduce yourself and you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. Mark Young, Nashville Fire. This item and the next item, we asked for a last meeting for a 1-meeting deferral, and that was granted. We're asking for a 2-meeting deferral now on both the items. This is tied now, it's tied to the government shutdown, and we're hoping that we can get some release and have this back before you in 2 meetings. If not, we will move to the Director Darby's recommendation of maybe we may do indefinite deferral or withdrawal.
Thank you. Councilwoman Johnston.
Special Counsel Darby, what's the best way to do? I don't know that we're going to get out of this in a month. So what's your advice? Because I'll make that motion.
Director Darby.
I had recommended earlier to Mr. Young that the 2-meeting deferral might give enough time in hopes that the situation changes. But we also, per rule, if we get to that 4th deferral, so if we have to keep deferring, that's fine. But if we get to that 4th deferral, it will automatically be turned into an indefinite deferral. So at this point, we've had 1 deferral. This would be deferral number 2 today, and then we would have another opportunity for a deferral if after the 2-meeting deferral, nothing has changed and we need to do that again before we get to an indefinite.
Okay, if we indefinitely deferred this today or tomorrow and say something happens next week and the government reopens, when you bring it back, you have to do a 1-meeting deferral anyway, correct?
Yes, that is correct. But also recall that an indefinite deferral has to stay off of the agenda for at least 60 days. And when it comes back onto the agenda, if it is deferred again, then it is considered to be withdrawn.
Okay, I'll move a 2-meeting deferral.
It's been properly moved and seconded to defer 2 meetings. Is there any discussion?
Can I do that for both so we can just move on?
Well, let me read the caption and then
Okay.
yes, Councilwoman Johnston.
Thanks.
Reading the caption for item number 2, Resolution 2025-1534, Toombs, Huffman, and Benton, approving an urban area security initiative grant application from the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency to the Metropolitan Government, acting by and through the Office of Emergency Management to fund costs related to enhancing security and the resilience of high-risk urban areas by building, sustaining, and improving capabilities to prevent, prepare for, protect against, and respond to acts of terrorism.
2 meeting deferral.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we do a 2-meeting deferral for items 1 and 2, Resolution 2025-1533 and Resolution 2025-1534. Is there any discussion? Councilwoman Saguaro.
Thank you, Chair. And I don't know, I'll let you, Director Darby, tell me this. I have a question with regards to the application itself. Since it's now relating to the deferral, do I wait until the 2 meetings? Or can I just ask for clarification from Mr. Young now?
I'll let you go ahead, Councilwoman Saguaro.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. In the analysis, I know that this is a combined grant, doing so many things. A part of it is something we've always got it before, but there's a new part of it that has to do with immigration enforcement, which I know that your department is looking at. So since it's one application, as we're applying, is there any way to separate what we're applying for? Or you just have to apply for all of them? And then I'm trying to figure out how we're going to manage the fact that it's all combined now.
Mr. Young.
Thank you, Council Lady. I know you had this concern at the last meeting, and what I do know is this grant is given to the state, these funds, and then the state releases them to the local municipalities. And to answer the question, I do not think they can be separated, and we definitely will not be involved in any ICE operations or anything like that. But there's no way that we cannot, there's no other way that we cannot receive these funds other than going through the state process.
Councilwoman Saguaro.
Thank you. So we cannot separate it in the application, but when we do get the grants, will it state X amount is for this, X amount is for that? Do we know that, or we'll find out when we get?
Yes, we will know that.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome. Is there any further discussion on the 2-meeting deferral? Seeing none, all those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Any not voting? Motion carries. Item number 5, Resolution 2025-1558, Toombs, Welsh, Gad, and others. Resolution appropriating a total of $474,000 from a certain account of the general fund of the General Services District for a grant to the United Way of Middle Tennessee, Inc. to provide financial counseling and other financial education activities to low-income residents in accordance with the Financial Empowerment Center's program model. Can I get a motion? It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, aye. Opposed, no. Any not voting? Motion carries. Item number 9, Resolution 2025-1562, Cap, Toombs, and Horton, resolution approving the activities and improvements eligible for tax increment financing in the Casey Place redevelopment plan. Can I get a motion? Councilmember Cap.
Thank you, Chair. I'll move a 1-meeting deferral.
Is he on the committee?
Sorry, I'm not on the committee. I would like someone else to move a 1-meeting deferral.
Councilmember Porterfield.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to move for a 1-meeting deferral.
All right, it's been properly moved and seconded for a 1-meeting deferral. Is there any discussion, Councilwoman Johnston?
Just, can we get an explanation for why? And is this going to happen for the Jefferson Street redevelopment plan as well, which is next on the agenda?
That one isn't mine, but it was deferred in planning and zoning. And apologies for foregoing explanation because we had gone through it in the previous committee. No, not at all. There is some language there that I think needs some work and that I would like to defer to continue to work on for the purposes of the TIF. And also, MDHA is not here to answer questions about it.
Councilwoman Allen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I will just add to that, I had questions about what this does is reapprove the activities and talks about a survey that was done to determine if those activities were still appropriate. And this is kind of some of the work that we did on the Tax Abatement Study and Formulating Committee. So I want to make sure it's done right. And so it would be great to have access to what the results of that survey were. And so I appreciate the sponsor moving to defer that one. And I had also asked to defer the one on Jefferson Street. So if we want to combine them, I'm going to move to defer that one if no one else does.
I'll read the caption for the one on Jefferson Street. I know Councilman Taylor mentioned the fact that MDHA, they can be available at the next meeting. And also they wanted to track another piece of legislation that will be on public hearing. The caption for item number 10, Resolution 2025-1563, resolution approving the activities and improvements eligible for tax increment financing in the Jefferson Street redevelopment plan. So it's been properly moved and seconded to defer for one meeting. Item number 9, Resolution 2025-1562, and item number 10, Resolution 2025-1563. Councilwoman Suara.
Thank you, Chair. One of the things that I noticed as I was looking at the analysis was that there was nothing attached to the bill in Legislature. And so on both of them, neither one of them has it. And so it was just the text of the bill. There was nothing attached. So I'm hoping that with the deferral, that all of the, whatever we need to look at, whatever it is that we're approving, the activities will be attached to the legislation. Thank you.
And Councilwoman Porterfield, did you have anything additional? All right, so we're on the one meeting deferral motion for both item number 9 and item number 10. Is there any additional discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, aye. Opposed, no. Any not voting? Motion carries. Item number 11, Resolution 2025-1564, Toombs, Horton, Huffman, Welsh, and others. Resolution authorizing grants not exceeding $9,598,000 from the Barnes Fund for Affordable Housing to certain nonprofits for the express purpose of constructing and rehabilitating affordable or workforce housing. Can I get a motion? It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, aye. Opposed, no. Any not voting? Motion carries. Item number 14, Resolution 2025-1567, Toombs Hill, resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement by and between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, by and through the Department of Information Technology Services in the state of Tennessee, Department of Transportation for the installation and maintenance of private licensed use facilities on the rights of way and highways under the jurisdiction of the state. Can I get a motion? It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Councilwoman Allen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had some questions about tree protection on this and had a good discussion with General Services that, number one, this is just between NDOT, TDOT, and ITS in terms of their working in the TDOT right-of-way to install fiber and other IT infrastructure in the right-of-way. But when they do hire private contractors to do this work, that it will be governed under NDOT requirements, and that does include tree protection. So I just want to go on the record as confirming that there will be NDOT standards there applied, and that hopefully will not damage any of our trees that we've worked so hard to install on our streets. So with that, I move approval.
Okay. Is there any additional discussion? Councilwoman Suara.
Thank you, Chair. For those of us that are not that technical, what is private license use facilities? I Googled it, I still couldn't figure it out.
I see someone coming to the podium. If you could introduce yourself and you're recognized.
Madam Chair, Jesse Turner with Metro ITS Department. The private use license agreement is a type of agreement that TDOT puts forth for the installation of different facilities in the right of way. Because Metro is not a utility provider such as NES or Metro Water, Metro ITS is installing private fiber optic cable. So the agreement is titled Private Use Facilities.
Is there any additional discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, aye. Any opposed, no. Any not voting? Motion carries. Item number 15, Resolution 2025-1568, Coopin, Toombs, and Horton. Resolution approving a lease agreement between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County and the East Bank Development Authority for the use of property located at 730 President Ronald Reagan Way and 63 Hermitage Avenue. Can I get a motion? It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor, aye. Opposed, no. Any not voting? Motion carries. Item number 18, Resolution 2025-1571, Toombs, Huffman, Welsh, and others. Resolution approving Amendment 1 to a grant from the Tennessee Department of Health to the Metropolitan Government, acting by and through the Metropolitan Board of Health to provide supplemental foods, nutrition, education, and breastfeeding promotion to eligible persons through the Women, Infant, and Children Program. Can I get a motion? It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Councilwoman Allen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The list looks like yet another one of these where we've rearranged funding from CARES Act or ARPA to ensure that it all gets used by the time we have to use it. So it went from 16.4 million down to 16 million. And I'm just wondering if we know what that 400,000 is, if it's going to some other useful place that will benefit from having gotten it.
Is that
a health department question?
is there anyone from health here? You can introduce yourself when you're recognized.
Hi, Cabarrus Leach Health Department. These funds are actually just for a WIC program. They're not like funds being shifted from anywhere. These are funds that we get every year. However, they're being reduced because overall statewide, the state is just generally getting less money from the feds for this at this moment. So it's not only in Davidson County, we suspect, but across statewide, there's been a reduction, like simply due to the budget. Okay. Sorry.
Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye. Any opposed, no. Any not voting? Motion carries. All right, moving on to bills on second reading. Item number 33, Bill 2025-1050, Toomsville, Welsh, Coopin, and Gad. Ordinance approving an agreement between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville, Metropolitan Government and Nashville Riverfront Amphitheater, LLC, an affiliate of Opry Entertainment Group relating to management, operation, and maintenance of the West Riverfront Amphitheater and supporting grounds and buildings. Can I get a motion? It's been properly moved and seconded. And before we get into discussion, I know the CEO of Opry Entertainment is here and asked to make a brief statement before we get into council member discussion. If you could introduce yourself and you're recognized.
Thank you, Councilmember. I'm Gary Scott, the Chief Operating Officer for Opry Entertainment Group. It's a subsidiary of the Ryman Hospitality Partners. We own the Gaylord Resort. We own, operate, and manage the Grand Ole Opry, the Ryman Auditorium, Old Red down on Broadway, and Category 10 on 2nd. The reason that's significant is we've invested tremendous amount of capital in this market. It's a market that's near and dear to the entire organization, and we're treating the Ascend Amphitheater, the Nashville Riverfront Amphitheater, is kind of the same legacy brand that we look at from Ryman and from the Grand Ole Opry. So we're really honored to have an opportunity to win the bid and to be part of this, and really wanted to demonstrate our level of investment into that amphitheater. I think you guys have all read what we proposed. It's a significant investment. We've worked really closely with the mayor's office and the Parks Department. Really want to say thank you to them on behalf of this negotiation. It was it was a very enjoyable experience, which you probably don't hear a lot, and it was we really did enjoy and found it to be very successful. I think one of the things we honed in on and really recognized as being members of the community, that the greenway space that's along the riverfront, we took assertive action to make sure we connected that, to make sure it went outside of the amphitheater and connects under the Korean Memorial Parkway. So we're really pleased with the progress on that. That's something that you were hoping to have completed by the time we actually launched the first programming in April. So I just want to say thank you very much, and we're honored to be part of that process.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Can I get someone to move the amendment? It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the amendment. And I'm going to defer to Director Darby to explain what the amendment does.
The amendment will give the authority for the group to access Metro property, which was not provided in the original agreement.
Is there any discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye. Opposed, no. Any not voting? Motion carries. Can I get a motion to approve the bill as amended? It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the bill as amended. Is there any discussion? Councilwoman Allen. Suara.
We look alike. Thank you, Chair. I wanted to say that I'm very much in support of the ordinance. I've gone through it, and even at a comparison with everything before it, and it looks very well. And I think we're making more money, and there's a whole lot that will be done, including the Greenway. An area that is important for me, though, as we continue to build Nashville and we're looking at this city, is the issue of representation and making sure that in everything that we do, and since this is a public property, making sure that there's access and that there's representation. And so I got into a bunch of conversation with the folks at Ryman. Those of you that are on the committee, you have a letter on your desk, but I would like the Ryman, if the representative can come back to the podium and speak to how they've been ensuring that Nashville or the state will be people will be adequately represented, and now they're committing to doing that going forward in this public space. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Scott, you're recognized.
Absolutely, and thank you for the question. We employ nearly 1,000 people in this market, and when you look across our workforce, there's a great deal of diversity. And when we talk about what we're going to do in the venue, it's going to be a very diverse programmed venue. We are very excited about what we were able to negotiate in terms of how we will program the venue with community events and open those doors for everyone in the community that wants to come down and partake. We're going to open that up. We're working with our third-party F&B operators to ensure that those exact principles are put into place. And as we look down, we're also, one of the things that we've honed in on when we talk about our third-party concessionaire is really working with the Nashville Equal Business Opportunity Program. That's something that we honed in on. And even as of today, the contractor that's working on constructing the bridge to connect the pathway is a woman-owned construction contractor. So we've put a lot of emphasis on being very diverse in our programming and very pleased about what we've done so far. And those are efforts we'll continue to do as we move forward.
Anything additional, Councilwoman? Any additional discussion on the motion to approve the bill as amended? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye. Opposed, no. Any not voting? Motion carries. Item number 34, Bill 2025-1063, Toombs and Evans Siegel, ordinance amending certain sections and subsections of Chapter 2.62, Chapter 12.56, and Title 13 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws to modify fees charged by the Nashville Department of Transportation and Multimodal Infrastructure and make various other changes. Can I get a motion? It's been properly moved and seconded. Can I get a motion on the First Amendment? It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the First Amendment by Councilmember Toombs. I'm going to defer to Director Darby to explain what that amendment does.
The amendment is basically a housekeeping amendment in that it adds a $12 per pole fee for hanging banners that was included in the original study.
Any additional discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye. Opposed, no. Any not voting? Motion carried. Can someone move CM Hill's amendment? Been properly moved and seconded to approve CM Hill's amendment Is there any discussion? Councilmember Allen?
I'll just pick up on what happened in the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee where Councilmember Hill felt like there was more work that needed to be done on that and asked for a one meeting deferral for the bill as amended currently. And I would make that motion for a one meeting deferral.
It's been properly moved and seconded to do a one meeting deferral for the bill as amended with amendment number 1. Is there any discussion? And I know in transportation, there were several council members who asked questions that they wanted answered during the time of the deferral. Are there any questions from committee members that they would like answered? Councilwoman Porterfield.
Thank you, Chair. I just had a question to NDOT if they had any concerns with a one meeting deferral or if there's anything that's time sensitive that we should be aware of.
Mr. Purvis, you're recognized. You can introduce yourself.
Thank you, Chair. Matt Purvis, I'm the council liaison for NDOT and Waste. And so there's no problems with the one meeting deferral. I would like to point out that the date effective that is in the bill right now is based on the date filed, so it would not be affected by a deferral.
Thank you, Mr. Purvis. And I would like to pose whether NDOT could give a presentation at the next budget meeting to go over the fee study. It's 73 pages long and council members receive a lot of reports and studies. And so I think that it would be helpful if we got an overview of the study, and that would inform council members' questions as well as their vote.
We can certainly do that. How much time would you like to give us?
How much time do you need?
Depends on how in depth you want it. I mean, we can hit the highlights with 5 to 10. We could go more in depth with 10 to 15.
I'm thinking 15 minutes, because there were a lot of questions in transportation around how the fees were calculated. And I know that the study report goes in depth into that. And so some overview of that. What is the impact to NDOT in terms of you all being able to ramp up your staff? How does that impact operating dollars? So if you could go through that in a presentation, Councilwoman Porterfield.
Thank you, Chair. If we're going to have a presentation for next meeting and we're also voting on it next meeting, can we have the presentation prior to us taking up this legislation? Can the presentation be at the head of the meeting?
Oh, I got you.
Thank you.
Yes. Councilmember Johnston.
One of the things that I hope you guys can touch on, not only the explanation of the fees, but also I know that we are contracting out a lot of these services at the moment, which is way more expensive than bringing them in-house. And so if you can show an analysis of, okay, if we're paying a contractor to do X at X dollars per hour and we bring this in, what those cost savings are so that we can show some efficiency. And then also looking at how we are going to demonstrate an ROI on this, because I know that we have like some time delays and there's a lack of service there that we're hoping is going to be solved. And so what are we putting into place, like benchmarks, in order to show that this additional investment is going to actually improve services and solve the problem that we're trying to solve? And I would also hope that we could put something into place where before we just continue to increase these fees by 300% year over year for 3 years, that we're showing that it's working. Because I don't like to just throw money at a problem that's not a money problem. It maybe is a process and procedure problem. So what are we doing to make sure that this is actually working and having a mechanism in there to stop the increase in fees year over year if we see that that's not really working and maybe we need to go a different route, right?
Yeah, certainly. So we can definitely touch on that. And if you'd allow me, I would say also this bill and this effort that we're undergoing is much more about cost recovery. It's not, obviously the benefits towards service improvements will happen as we're able to bring folks on board, like the 15 full-time employees we mentioned. And in transportation, with 8 of those being permanent inspectors, 2 of those being plans reviewers, and 5 of those being operations folks, mostly meant for our banner crews, but will kind of float if there's not a need for those at the time. So there will be service increases, but the main purpose of this is that we are
actively underwater based on what it costs us to facilitate these services, and we're actively subsidizing the industry to do them. So it goes hand in hand, but the driving force behind this is cost recovery. But we can certainly talk about that in the presentation. And I would say also, if we want to present about this ahead of anybody taking a vote on it, it would have to be before transportation, at the head of transportation
let's do it.
instead of just at the head of budget.
Or do we have a joint so we can take this bill up together? While they're discussing that, I know that codes a lot will let a developer or a builder or whatever do a lot of these inspections or pay, not do them themselves, but pay another contractor to do it. And so it just completely takes codes out of it completely and they take whatever letter. Is that something that you guys are open to so that we don't have to worry about it at all? Or if there's pushback, why is it okay for codes to do it and not NDOT?
Oh,
And you don't have to answer that now. You can be prepared for it in your 15 minutes of fame tomorrow.
No, actually,
or
we
next
did,
week.
this has been, I looked at doing this in other cities as well as having third-party inspections. And the reality is whatever work's done in the right-of-way, we're liable no matter what. So if work's done and we allowed someone else to inspect it and they didn't do it right, I cannot go back and hold them accountable. We're accountable. So the recommendation has always been through the legalities of it. It's better for us to do it ourselves and hold ourselves accountable.
And so the difference between NDOT doing it and codes this is just from my own brain to understand it, that typically codes is on private property?
Correct.
Okay, that makes
Yep.
sense to me. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
I'll get to you, Councilwoman Sora. So council office staff have been working with myself and the chair of transportation in planning to do a specially called joint meeting for the Chime investments. I think that this can be combined with that if we can get that scheduled for 3:00 before our next on our next committee meeting day. Then I think that fits. And in between time, as we approach that meeting, if NDOT, if you could do maybe like a one-pager for council members
Certainly.
to have as a reference in addition to the presentation.
Absolutely.
Councilwoman Suara.
Thank you, Chair. And I was not in the last committee meeting, so if there's anything said that I'm repeating, please pardon me. But I wanted to make sure that as you're planning the presentation, that you're thinking about all the questions that have been asked and the concerns that we've heard. And so for me, the language in the sidewalk cafe about using downtown rate is one that's been problematic to a lot of people that call me, because if you start with a downtown rate, it's already astronomical. And what if it is a cafe in another part of the city? And so.
So we,
Sorry.
Director
right.
Alarcon, if you could introduce yourself before you start speaking. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Diana Alarcon, the director. The rate that was actually originally used to calculate was an average across Davidson County. It wasn't based on downtown, just so you know. However, that rate still gives an astronomical amount for sidewalk outside dining, and it's not working. I will share that with you. So we actually are having a task force meeting on Friday. And so it is my hopes that I will have some type of recommendation that we can include as part of the moving forward. So right now, the only thing that's really going into effect is the $250. Currently, right now, there's a $100 application and renewal fee that will be going up to $250. That's really the only thing right now we're recommending a change on. The rest we're going to be doing through a task team to figure out what works best for everyone. So we got, the industry together as well as hospitality. I got restaurant folks that are coming so we can have that bigger discussion about the best way to go about doing it. So it's fair to them and it's also fair to Metro. So we're working on that.
So are we going to take that language out now, or you're saying you will amend it later?
We'll amend it later. If I have something ready, I will definitely bring it forward. If I do not have it ready, I would ask that we bring it later. I feel like right now, we have 15 outside dining permits currently. They are registered all to everyone on 2nd. And if y'all remember, y'all gave 2nd Avenue a special event kind of permit, and they do not have to pay until January. So I definitely want to get it fixed by January 1st. So that is the initiative we're moving forward with.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Purvis?
If I may add one additional thing, if we don't have language ready for next meeting for that one small portion, I will say the language with it just saying based on downtown real estate rates, the actual calculation of how that's done is with the department. And so we have a lot of flexibility there in the current code and in what's proposed in front of you to, move that, adapt as it needs to be. So currently it doesn't lock us into using or to using directly the downtown rates in a calculation. I mean, we could take that rate and multiply it by a quarter or by an eighth. We could reduce that as we need to because the calculation at the moment is up to us. But obviously, by next meeting, we would like to have some verbiage, and that's why we're working on it on Friday.
Any additional discussion before we vote on the one meeting deferral? Seeing none, all those in favor of the one meeting deferral, say aye. Opposed, no. Any not voting? Motion carries. Moving on to item number 35, Bill 2025-1064, Swara, Druffel, and Gadd, ordinance amending section 3.24.020 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws relative to council approval of injury on duty clinic medical services contracts. Can I get a motion? It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion, Councilwoman Swara?
Thank you, Chair. Before I go into the discussion with about the procurement bills, I just wanted to take a moment of personal privilege and to say thank you to Mr. Mendez, who is sitting here in the chamber. Friday will be Bob's last day. And as someone that got to serve with him and all the work that he's done for this city, I can tell you personally that since he's been in this position, when I'm looking and reviewing an analysis, the work that I do is less because I know Bob is behind it, and I trust the work that Bob does in looking out for the people of Nashville. And so now I'm going to have to read more, and but I do want to say thank you, Bob, for your service as a council person, but also in this position. So thank you very much. So this ordinance and the others that will be following it came out of the special procurement work group that we did, thanks to former budget chair. We were looking at how to work better and do things better and to make sure that we're cleaning. Some of the things in our code came in when Nashville was formed. And some of those languages are very old, we need to fix, and some of it is just way to do business better. And so the first one that you're looking at basically is about the IOD contracts. In 2013, there was a move to do a sole source for that contract, and they put a language in the code that says that it has to come before council. And so, but since then, we've now been doing through RFD, and so there was no RFP. So there's no reason for it to come before us anymore. So we now changing this, and there's a language in there that says that if for whatever reason they wanted to go to sole source, then it will come to us. But if it's going through the RFP process, then it does not need to come to council anymore. And with that, I move for approval.
Councilmember Druffel?
Yeah, just a note and recognition of Councilor Swara. She put a lot of effort into this. I had to be on the committee and try to make as many meetings, but I would just want to recognize Councilor Swara for the incredible work. The Vice Mayor puts us into these committees, and there's some great stuff that came out of this, and really appreciate her work. So just want to recognize her. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilwoman Porterfield.
Thanks, Chair. I'll second what Councilmember Druffel said. I just wanted to thank all of the committee members. Like, it was really important to work on some transparency. We know that we all value transparency and we all want to improve the work that we do. And I know Councilor Swara was very passionate about her procurement legislation and working on ways to improve procurement. So I just wanted to thank Councilor Swara for taking up this subcommittee through the Budget and Finance Committee, and also thank finance and the procurement team and just everyone who diligently worked on this, and also the subcommittee members who worked with Councilor Swara on this. So thank you.
Councilwoman Johnston?
It seems like the next 1, 2, 3, 4 is probably going to be the same. So could we take them all at once?
Is that, they're all different. I'll read the caption for them, and then you can give an explanation, Councilwoman Suarez, and we'll just discuss them collectively. Is that fine? Oh, Director Darby is over here reluctant. So we'll just, try to move through them as quickly as possible. Any additional discussion on item 35? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye. Opposed, no. Any not voting? Motion carries. Item 36, Bill 2025-1065, Swear and Druffel, ordinance amending Title IV of the Metropolitan Code of Laws relative to the procurement code and any competitive practices. Can I get a motion? It's been properly moved and seconded. Councilwoman Suarez?
Yes, and all of these are in the subcommittee reports that is very detailed, and you can find it. And I do thank all my committee members for their time as well. This particular one came about because we were finding out that some of Metro's contractors were actually forbidding, or at least discouraging, the subcontractor from competing against them. And that is not good. It reduces our pool of vendors, and that's not good. So this is actually talking about anti-competitive practices by whoever is doing business with Metro, that they should not do that. We want to work with anybody that wants to work with us. And so those are the two codes we're changing. And then it had in the suspension and debarment that if you do get caught with doing anti-competitive act, then you will be on the list of suspension and debarment. And with that, I move for approval.
Any additional, additional discussion? Councilwoman Porterfield?
Thank you so very much. I believe this is the one of the pieces of legislation that a constituent had reached out about. We had two different pieces of legislation. One has been, one will be introduced for next meeting, but a constituent had reached out about this particular concern, and it was brought to the committee. So I just wanted to lift up a thank you to our constituents who reach out. Sometimes people feel like it's an impossible process, but thank you to our constituents that reach out with these concerns, because we do try to do our best to address them. So thank you, Council Lady, for doing your due diligence, working with Zach and the rest of the team to work through this process.
Thank you, Council Member. Any additional discussion? All those in favor, aye. Opposed, no. Any not voting? Motion carries. Item 37, Bill 2025-1066, Swear and Druffel, ordinance amending Chapter 4.12 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws relative to the procurement code and small purchases. Can I get a motion? It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion, Councilwoman Toro?
This one is just cleaning up the language in terms of small purchases based on the new rule that came out of the state.
Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye. Opposed, no. Any not voting? Motion carries. Item 38, Bill 2025-1067, Swear and Druffel, ordinance amending Chapter 4.12 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws to change the qualifications for certain sole source contracts to be approved by the Metropolitan Council. Can I get a motion? It's been properly moved and seconded. Councilwoman Suarez?
This one is very important because we actually went through the sole source process, and I encourage my colleagues to watch the video and look at the report in trying to understand how it works and all of the controls that are in place before it comes before us. And so during the conversation, we realized that the 250 threshold that we're using was set in 2013. And as we grow as a county, there's a whole lot more that we have to do. So we're asking for like an inflation adjustment to make it 350,000. I want to put on record also that if you look at the way we're doing business now, there's a lot of cooperative agreement being used instead. This does allow us to actually look into procurement process that use a lot of bidding opportunity for us that save us a lot of money. So we would not be doing a lot of sole source, but if we have to, we're asking that we increase the threshold to 350. And I will put on record also that when we look at how much will this affect, how many contracts are we talking about? Between 2020 and 2025, this will only have impacted 10 contracts. So we're not talking about a whole lot that we'll not be doing, but it allows us to keep moving as the city continues to grow.
Okay. Any additional discussion on Bill 2025-1067? Seeing none, all those in favor, aye. Opposed, no. Any not voting, motion carries. Item 39, Bill 2025-1068, Swaraj Ruffle and others, ordinance amending Chapter 4.12 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws to change the qualifications for certain solid waste collection and disposal contracts to be approved by the Metropolitan Council. Can I get a motion? It's been properly moved and seconded. Councilwoman Suara?
Same as the last one, except this has to do with solid waste contract. The current threshold was established in 1994. And so we're asking to do an inflationary adjustment for that as well.
All right, any additional discussion? Councilwoman Allen?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just because we now have a solid waste committee, I did check with Director Thurman on this, and she said there are very few contracts that are below $1 million, so this is totally appropriate.
Any additional discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, aye. Any opposed, no. Any not voting, motion carries. Item number 40, Bill 2025-1069, Swaraj Ruffle, Allen, and Ewing, ordinance amending Section 4.40.050 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws relative to the procurement code and the requirement for the purchasing agent to report the recycled paper usage efforts. Can I get a motion? Been properly moved and seconded. Councilwoman Suara?
Thank you. This is another redundant thing in our code that says that we should be reporting how many recycled paper we're using, and it's just time consuming and it's not effective in any way. So that's why we're asking for it to be cleaned. And I do know that Councilmember Allen has an amendment for us to consider.
Councilwoman Allen, do you want to move your amendment?
Yes, ma'am, I move the amendment.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the amendment. Do you want to explain what it does?
Yes, ma'am. So the amendment actually changes, the current requirement is that all departments make an effort to buy 10% recycled paper, which actually doesn't exist anymore. When this was made, that might have been the best that was available, but now it's either 30% or 100%. The original bill didn't do that, so I'm adding that piece to it, but I'm still getting rid of the reporting requirement. So we'll find other ways to follow up on whether they're actually doing it or not, but it just brings it in line with what's actually available.
Any additional discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor, aye. Opposed, no. Any not voting? Motion carries. Can I get a motion to approve as amended? It's been properly moved and seconded to approve Bill 2025-1069 as amended. Councilwoman Suara, did you have additional?
Yes, before we make the final vote, I think I should. We'll have a couple more bills coming, dealing with contracts and grants, and then the resolution of the Sport Authority will be coming. But I wanted to pause here and just thank Zach and Dennis and everyone in finance, Miss Mary Jo, Director Darby. A lot of people work on making sure these meetings work and getting us to where we are, and the committee members, Jennifer, Erin and Coyne and Tom Druffel, and I don't know who else I'm missing. If I miss somebody, please forgive me. But it was a total team effort, and we still have some more coming. But I wanted to say thank you all for at least helping us clean it up a little bit. Thank you.
Any additional discussion on the bill as amended? Seeing none, all those in favor, aye. Opposed, no. Any not voting? Motion carries. That completes all of our agenda items. I was asked to remind council members about the CIB deadline, October 31st. Please make sure you get your changes in. If you have any questions, reach out to Greg Claxton. Meeting adjourned.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.